Hello. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to Paul's Place again. We're filming another documentary on racing, basically bare field today. We might touch on some other subjects on other tracks that some of the people have ran and some of us have been to, but basically what we're going to be talking about today is racing. No cheating. Nobody's going to show up here with slicks when they should have treads, and no big engines. And at least we're going to try to keep from cheating too bad. The day hasn't really started off too great. We've ruined one car getting here, and I'm a little shook up myself, but we're going to get the day in. On my right-hand side, I got Ed Wiesenauer. Ed, Dad and Ed built Bearfield Racetrack when it first originated. And Ed, what are you doing now for a living?
Oh, I'm retired, Paul. I just head man at the Honeydew Construction Company.
Yeah. This is next to him is my brother Dick. I know that Dick's retired. What else do you do besides mow grass and wash windows?
That keeps me pretty busy, but I still go out to the racetrack about every weekend and watch that and take that in.
You still run some of the clocks out there?
Yeah, still do a little of that just to keep active.
Yeah. I don't know, I haven't been out there yet this year. I know they've...
Well, we ran last Sunday. We got one. First two were rained out. Now we've got one in. It wasn't a bad show. It was pretty decent.
Yeah. I talked to Billy Cunningham Monday night. Him and Ed Fisher and I got together. I'll talk about it later on in this program, something they want to come up with at the end of the season. Over on my right-hand side in this maroon shirt is a guy that needs no introduction. I think everybody in the county knows him. Jim Stovall. Jim was owner of the Zero, Moose Myers, and then his son drove the car. What are you doing now?
Don't forget my wife.
Well, your wife didn't drive that car.
She drove Zeros, though.
What are you doing for activity today?
Oh, I go when it's warm in the wintertime, and I sell a few cars in the summer and the spring up here.
Yeah. And you're still involved in racing?
Well, I lost an engine this week.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, well, I just got to make a good use of it.
Yeah. Next, between Jim and I is another guy that needs no introduction. I used to race with his dad, and we put on some pretty good shows at the big track in South Anthony. And he's shown that he knows how to run a car too, is Steve Ott. What do you do, Steve, besides aggravate everybody?
I still work in the body shop business. I'm the manager out at Al Grant's Body Shop North.
Oh.
That and taking care of the house.
Well, we're going to need your expertise in writing an estimate for
Yes,
before
you
the week's
are.
over with. But, that's quite a shock.
Pretty messed up.
So anyway, that's who's going to be on the program today, and we're going to, like I say, we're not going to do any cheating. We're going to try our best to talk about what we did best. And I can remember when I started racing, none of these guys were around. Your dad was, and all these guys back here, and it was altogether different. By the time we got to Bearfield, we'd already wore out the big track in South Anthony, and they built the new Bearfield, so we had something newer to run on. It had to be a lot smoother than the other two tracks were. And Bearfield was, I don't know, the first year I ran Outlaw, so Johnny Klotz, and the Racing Association was involved with Bearfield. Yeah. And if you didn't belong to the Racing Association, you weren't too welcome. So anyway, for a couple of years there, I ran off and on out there. And, it was different, but it changed, just like anything else that comes back. Steve, when did you drive out there?
I started in 1976 and I retired in 1998, I believe it was.
You drove your own cars, or?
No, I started out, Art Chalowski and Joe Wallace kind of took me under their wings. I always wanted to drive. I drove go-karts and stuff, and one weekend up at La Villa, Art Chalowski put me in a car and took me out and showed me how he drove the track, and Joe Wallace did the same thing out at Bearfield, and we hooked up with some guy that had a little street stock, and my dad really didn't want me driving, so I had to go under an assumed name.
Yeah.
Even though I was old enough, I just didn't want him knowing I was driving, so we did that for a year and a half, and then one night I was going out
What was
to-
your assumed name?
I know a guy in
Junior
this,
Donut.
You still got a girl looking for you or something?
no.
I know a guy in this room that used to drive under Willie Wynn and Jake Donut.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it seems like every one of us along the line used a different name for something. So,
One night I was getting ready to go out for a race, and I was sitting in the car all buckled in, ready to go, and this guy walked up alongside the driver's side of the car, and he says, "What are you doing?" And I kind of looked out, and there was Dad standing there, and I said, "Planning on going out and winning this feature." He said, "Well, I'm going to make you a deal." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "You go ahead going out there and race." He said, and if you win, he says, you can keep on racing, but if you don't, he said, I don't want to see you in a car again. So, luckily I won. And, but he never, Dad was a little strict on that, you know, he didn't want me in it, he wouldn't help me at all, you know, and that was his way. I had a younger brother that got in it finally, and he
Yeah.
built him a car. But he kind of backed me, but yet again, he didn't want me out there. And he supported it, but he didn't like it.
yeah. Dads were that way. I know my dad walked up on me out at the big track. What's this? Well, Dad, it's like this. This isn't a taxi cab. And that was all part of racing, though. I know your dad, when we were at the racetrack, you know, that was his main thing.
Oh, yeah.
He lived and breathed racing. That was it.
Oh, even after he retired from it, I mean, he still followed it. You know.
Yeah.
He, every once in a while, him and Mom would sneak out to Bearfield just to see what I was doing, you know. And he never said anything. Matter of fact, that night I broke my arm up there at La Villa. They had me in the hospital, and they set it and put the screws and the pins in it and everything. And of course, Louise came up with Pat Wallace, and my mom was standing there, and I come out of recovery, and I wasn't feeling that great. I didn't really want to talk to anybody. And my mom says, "Well, I've had enough." She says, "I'm gonna call your father." And I said, "Good, because I like to talk to him." So she gets him on the phone, and I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm just sitting here and enjoying watching TV." And he says, "How are you feeling?" I said, "Well, if you're not doing anything, could you do me a favor?" And he said, "What's that?" I said, "Grab that 38 and bring it up here and put one right in my head, because this pain is killing me." He said, "No, I'm not coming up there." He says, "You know, you find a way to get up there yourself. No, you find a way to get out." You know,
Yeah.
he said, "I told you." He says, it's not all fun, is it?" And I said, "No." But I said, "We'll live through this one."
That's speed bumps, I think they call it.
Yeah.
Is that reverberation hurting anything that we hear? Okay. Jim, you've been involved in racing for, seems like forever. And your racing career has taken you to a lot of states, a lot of people, a lot of different cars. And I don't know if you want to speculate on when you started with Moose.
Well, I'll just start when I started.
Okay.
When I was a senior in high school. Hoagie gave me a Hudson out of the yard, and me and Don fixed it up, and we ran that a little bit, and then they started running 3 laps forward and 2 laps back. Boy, was that something. What was that guy's name that gave him $25 to roll over? What was that guy's name out south?
Well, Art Nave was one
That
of
was
them.
it. That was it. Yeah.
Art Nave, he would get upside down for less money than that. I seen him get upside down for free.
So anyway, I was at Winchester, and this one guy, he was from down south. He had a '55 Chevrolet. Man, was that thing running. So he wanted to sell it. So I think he lived in Newcastle. So I went on down there. He's one of the old racers.
Is that Johnson, a guy by the name of Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he had a Chevy V8, one of the
Yeah.
early ones.
Yeah, anyway, I went down there, and I said, "Boy, that car really run at Winchester." He says, "Yeah." He says, I had a short track gear in it." So I ended up, I bought the car. Then as soon as I bought it, he wanted to drive it. I said, "No, I got a driver." "Oh no," I said, "I do a better job than any driver you got." And I said, "No, I got a guy there I got to take care of." So we started out with that '55 Chevrolet, and then we started building cars and started moving up, and we traveled all over the country, Heidelberg,
I remember I was at Heidelberg when you guys were up there.
Yeah.
Ileana.
Ileana. We did real well at Ileana, and won a Bittenhauser twice, and had the track record. We still got the track record up there, and so then we did a little ASA stuff, which we did pretty good in, and Scott won the championship in the sportsman ASA deal, and mostly because it was run at Winchester all the time.
Yeah.
And he loved that track. So then we got started in ARCA, and that's when it's tough.
Yeah.
You gotta, about every week you gotta be at a different city, and equipment gets tired, and then, in the old days,
Everybody gets tired.
we got two cars, one for a short track and one for the big track, and that's it. Now them guys in NASCAR, they just if they wreck one of them $100,000 cars, they just think it's a spare tire, and
Yeah.
go get them another one right away. So it's really changed.
Yeah, racing has really changed in the last, I'm going to say last 15 years. The last 5 in particular, but the last 15 years, it's proceeded to get higher and higher and higher on the levels. Even ASA and even ARCA. I can remember when you were on ARCA, you didn't really, if you had some leftover NASCAR stuff that you could buy.
That's where they came from. That's where they got all the cars from.
And you had some of that, and you could go run ARCA. And Jack Bowser from down here in Ohio, he always had 2 or 3 good cars. In fact, I think he's still running ARCA.
His son is.
His boy is, yeah.
Down there, he was running, and A.J. Foyt was running one of his cars.
I was there.
So he stops right there at the start-finish line. 2 guys run out there with 2 jacks, and they changed them tires on there because he put tires with cement in them, so it'd make the weight.
You wouldn't think Foyt would cheat now, would you?
Oh, that was Bowser cheating.
No, okay. Remember the time they caught AJ with a fire extinguisher that had laughing
Nitrous,
gas?
yeah, I was there. He had the pole.
Yeah, he had laughing gas and the
Yeah.
fire extinguisher and hooked up the bottom of the carburetor. This guy, these guys had some of the better ideas. But I was at Daytona once when Foyt was driving Bowser's car and couldn't get enough speed out of it. He stuck it in second gear, ran it till the engine blew, and pulled it in.
That's what the Hamilton did one time.
Yeah. But I can remember them days. That was long. Well, that's when your dad and I used to go to Florida.
Yeah.
And that was a good
And that's
days.
not cheating, that's just creative engineering.
Is that what it
That's
was?
what we
Yeah.
used to call it.
Interpretation of
Creative
rules.
engineering.
Yeah, well, everybody had their own interpretation
Yeah,
of the
right.
rules, I tell you.
That's not going to change.
No.
That's still that way today.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody just said that on TV here not too long ago, that they have the rule book, and NASCAR has the people, and all the associations do, and you own the car, and you got a driver, and you got your set of rules, and when they don't match is when you get in trouble. That's,
Well, it's kind of like when me and Larry Heine was building our cars. You get a set of rules for out at Bearfield or Lavilla or any other track that you're running. There's always a space in between the lines. Well,
That's right.
what we built the car on.
Yeah, right.
Those spaces.
That's what my son's doing right now, as a matter of fact.
That's
He's building
right.
a car, and, you
You
read space, this blank.
That's right.
That's right.
Well,
They
that's
left that
where
in
you
there
have-
for us to fill in.
Right.
Got to fill in there somewhere. But I don't know, Bearfield, getting back to Bearfield, I went through some of my stuff in digging things out, because that's where we're going to run. We were talking about Bill France, and the first guy that I had on lives across the street from Scott, that Don Liebram. This one came out of his stuff. And this dates September the 24th of 1941, and there's a real good picture of Big Bill France Sr. And he had won the big race out at the big track in 1940. He was also the 1940 National Stock Car Champion. And he was coming back in 1941 to run AAA again and run out there. So Bill France was around here long before we give him credit for. And evidently he had some pretty good equipment to win the championship.
He was a horse, old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't need power steering.
Yeah, well,
Like Scott.
Yeah.
I remember when we first went to Daytona to work for him, Chuck, or Dimmitt and us, and Bill France was still in charge. He was a heck of a nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
Make yourself at home. He was down to earth and whatever. But anyway, I found that. I thought that was interesting. That another article. Here's one. I don't know if this is any of your relation or not. Here's one with a Louise Stovall,
Has he got a beetle
powder
in it?
buff driver. Yeah, and I don't know if the Stovalls all drove race cars or not.
Oh, I
but,
think that was
1969.
Scott's mother.
I think
I
so.
do believe.
I don't know if that would come up on the camera or not. We're going to give it a try. But, yeah,
That's on the society page of News and Sentinel.
yeah. She drove. I've watched her out there. She drove pretty decent.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, he's a
I
good
thought,
driver.
yeah.
Nowadays, if you went back to NASCAR, you'd have two drivers. You could have her and Scott, have a two-car team, because there are other women out there running too.
There's ladies out there this year running. There'll be 3 or 4 there every night.
Yeah. They do well.
Yeah, they do pretty well, really.
Here's something that's a little bit off the beaten path. That I've brought it out, and I thought it's interesting because I was a flagman too. I carried them flags around, and when I didn't have a car to run, I could use them, and I could see the race for free, and I had a better seat than the average bear. And that's one way of looking at it, anyway. Here's a guy by the name.
What I've always suspected, Paul.
Here's a guy by the name of Mo Brewer. Remember Mo?
That was the original flagman.
He was the original flagman.
Byron
Well,
Young was
Byron,
Oh, that's,
Byron
no.
Young was first, and then
Yeah.
Clark Graft, he was around.
Yeah, I
And
forgot about
then-
him.
Yeah, and then Mo. Mo was the first guy that I ever seen come up the racetrack when we was running a Bearfield 200, whatever they called it at that time, in a tuxedo. Remember that?
No, I
You
don't.
should. I do. I remember him out there in that tuxedo as a flagman. And Mo lives down here around Decatur, and he's Howard Rex's son-in-law. He married Howard Rex's daughter, Betty Rex's daughter. And I guess these others is somebody, I don't know, he was here last week, and part of his shadow is still here. That's Moose Myers. Oh, you want to get a picture of that? I talked to Moose this morning, but he had a doctor's appointment today, and he couldn't show back up to two in a row. But Moose is a likable cuss. You don't find him too much better than that anywhere. His other article that I dug out of my archives is what we were talking about a week or so back about different promoters at the racetrack, and this was John Doherty and Jess Winter when they took over Bearfield. They was only there for about a half a year.
About that.
And they renamed it the Allen County Speedway, but I don't ever remember that sign going up or anything. But, it was interesting just to run into that, and then You run in the 80s?
Who me? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
Here's a souvenir program in 1984 that
That's
they
the year I
run
won
out
the
there.
championship.
You won the championship that year.
Yes, I did.
We ought to
Long time coming.
get into this
That's
thing here.
elusive, you know. That's hard.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
Jim, that is hard.
The only thing harder than winning a championship is that first feature.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they come pretty easy, don't they, Jim? The first one's always the
Yeah,
hardest.
you know, it changes, you know.
Oh, yeah, it
There's a lot
does.
of ups and downs in racing.
Here's a article here. It says in a late model race that they had May 27th of 83, you finished second.
I bet you Joe Yoder won.
Joe Yoder won that.
Joe Yoder, 07. Tough little boy. I miss
They
him.
had good
Yes, they
good
did.
pieces though.
It's over here, Jim.
Uh,
This is super late.
this is the Wiesenauer part. But, I don't know. I didn't find what I was looking for in there. But anyway, that's it. Get my pictures out here. What are we talking about here?
That was one of my late model cars that Bill Mitchell owned that car. And Lee Hart built it. I drove it. And we'd run Bearfield, Angola. And that was about it with that car. That was toward the end of it there.
What kind of car was it?
That was a Camaro IROC Z.
What's this thing?
It was a harp car.
This one was, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yes it was. This in here is the last car my younger brother ever built. He passed away when he was 38. This was the year that he built that car. And he didn't want me driving it. He had somebody else driving it, and they'd always start on the front row and end up in the back row, first lap out at Bearfield. So Jerry called me up and he says, hey, I need you to come out here and show this boy how to drive. And it was a stable car to Dave Bates.
Yeah.
And Dave was running pretty, well, he was top runner out there. And we went out the first night and we finished first, second on all three, the dash heat and the feature.
Yeah.
To Dave. And Dave says, well, at least I had somebody running with me there.
This gets to be different.
Yeah, that's when I run for Bill Pease. And Bill we really never had a lot of money. And we found this car in a Quonset hut. It used to belong to Lee Hagerfeld. And the chassis was sitting there, and we scrounged around and put the car together. And it was competitive, but it wasn't a top big runner.
Yeah.
We had a good time with it. And we run it, I think, 2 years.
Yeah. Nice looking car.
Oh, yeah.
I think this one here gets to the bottom of what I got for a list. There's quite a few cars sitting in this one.
Oh, yeah. That used to be Mike Lyons,
Yeah.
old late model. And him and Clarence Smuck built that. And Mike went on and they built another one, and Clarence had this chassis sitting there, and that's when I was running for Larry Heine. And Larry got the car, and him and Clarence were going to be partners with it for the first year. And Clarence was going to back us. And we did so good the second year, Larry just took the car over and we bought it, and we run that car, I don't know how many years we run that. Just kept winning. Matter of fact, that's the chassis we won the championship
year are
was
we
in
at now?
'84. That one there, that was the second car that we had the ET Express on, so that would be back in the early '80s.
Nice looking cars. Mine was never that straight.
Well, that was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
You tried to move the Bearfield wall so many times. When you had a car.
Yeah. Well, you know, back then it was racing was rough. I remember racing. You guys remember this also with Cliff Setzer, and he had a brother named Blind Freddie. Blind Freddie would go into the corner with you, lean on you a little bit, and then when you came out of on the back straightaway or somewhere else, he'd either be hanging onto the left rear fender or hanging on the right front fender. It didn't make much difference. And if you stopped after the race in the pits and asked him, Fred, what seems to be the problem? He says, I got my half-mile glasses on and we're running a quarter-mile track. His glasses look like the bottom end of a Coke bottle anyway, and I don't think he could ever see the end of the hood. So that's why.
He's not with us anymore, is he?
Pardon?
Fred.
I don't know if Fred's around anymore or
I
not.
don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Last time I talked
No,
to
he
Cliff,
hasn't died.
I haven't seen him or heard anything in
He's all
years.
cleaned up and he's
Oh,
doing
is he?
real good.
oh yeah,
Last time I saw him.
yeah. I didn't ask Cliff last time I talked to him if Freddie was still around, but I remember it was just like the Potters, Mickey Potter and Walt Potter were pretty decent drivers, but they had Mickey and Walt weren't related, but Mickey had a brother I can't think of his name right now.
Virgil?
No, well, Virgil was a brother.
Yeah, younger brother.
Virgil never raced.
No.
What's the other guy's name? But he was Mickey Potter's brother, and he was the same way. He was all over the racetrack. He didn't have the talent Mickey had. That was back. Oh, that's big track days, South Anthony days. Jim, did you bring anything you wanted to show, or?
Well, let you show a few pictures.
Watch your mic, Mike.
You could take it around there in front and sit down there, and they'll put the camera right on it.
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay.
Come on, Dad, I'll take care of you.
Okay, bud.
Where's Louise at?
Yeah, I tried to get her to come up here.
Right. She come back from Florida?
What?
She came back from Florida.
Is that the first one? The first Hoosiers 200?
That's second.
Second one?
Yeah, second annual.
Yeah, I see it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Joy Fair one.
They just hold it up there, and
Okay,
camera guy turn it around in the air, the camera guy can get right.
Okay, this is Joy Fair. He's probably one of the best drivers, and he always had funny motors, and sometimes they run backwards. And the guy that did the motors, he actually built Can-Am motors for the big sports cars and all that kind of stuff. And he made crankshafts, and them guys were really fun to race with. And they were the fastest guys in the country most of the time. I'm lucky that I won quite a few times against him, so it was really something, but usually something happened to one car or the other.
Wasn't that a guy's name, Chambers or Chalmers, that come in with that boat motor, that left-hand turning motor?
That was Gillian, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was that car.
That was that car.
Is that the Ford or Chevy? That's a Chevy.
This is
He had
Chevy.
he had a Ford.
He had a Ford.
It ran backwards.
Yeah, had a boat motor in it, ran backwards. I thought his name was Chambers.
No, I think he had a quick change rear end and upside down and run backwards.
No.
Absolutely. We finally found out what he did. See, if you race with him a long time, you look at him. Okay, this is Joe Wallace. He's at Avila. He's won the feature. He won the feature a lot of times and had a good racing.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll be able to see this stuff here.
Yeah. Joe was a good friend of mine.
Cool.
I really was saddened when he passed away. He got hurt at New Paris.
Yes, he did.
He got hurt at New Paris, and my daughter, I was putting that parking garage up for Frucci there at the Lutheran Hospital then, and my daughter was working at Lutheran at the time. She was going nurses training, I think, and she let me know that Joe was in the hospital, so I went over and talked to him, and I was kidding him, and he said, well, they're going to operate on me tomorrow. I said, well, tomorrow night when I get off work, I'll just go over here to the dugout and get us a six-pack, and I'll come back and we'll enjoy a beer or two before they let you out of here. Well, that didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Joe died on the operating table, and it was sad that it was a freak accident that claimed him.
Yeah, I was up there in New Paris when he hit the wall.
I was
You were
racing
up there.
against his son up there at La Villa. We was up at La Villa that night when it happened.
Yeah.
We didn't hear about it till after the races. They come running over to tell Steve. Yeah, it was pretty tough.
You know, Jim, on the back of those programs, there's spot oil. Like maybe the next mount. Keep going there. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that guy never did pay me for that.
That's racing. That's racing. Yeah, he did good.
Yeah, he got all that advertising.
Okay, here's a thing they put out when, well, my driver Moose Myers won the championship in 1970, and I thought that was pretty nice that they sent this out and see you next season, and everybody came to the last race, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, seems to be.
Okay, I have a Ford guy here, Warren Howard. He did a lot of racing at Bearfield when it first started up, and he did well for his equipment.
He was supposed to be here today, but I don't know what happened to him. I talked to him the other day, and he said he'd be here, but then I don't know, things like that happen.
Now, this car here, this was like Joey Fair's car. It was something special. It was one of the fastest cars in the country, and it was a 57 Chevy convertible. We didn't have no windshield in it or nothing, and the guys couldn't catch on why the car was so fast.
What's the date on these?
It wasn't pushing any air.
What's the date on those?
This one here don't have a,
It'll
About
be like 66.
yeah.
This should be 65. This one. Okay, here's the car that came after the convertible. It didn't do as well as the convertible. I kept the convertible around.
Which one of these is in the museum down,
It's a 77 Oldsmobile.
that's down in Charlotte?
No, it's down in Talladega.
Talladega.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the famous T-Bird that was out to Bearfield that won a lot of races. It was tough to beat. His owner was a very good mechanic, and he always had nice equipment.
He's from Roanoke.
Yeah, well, hard wrecks.
Wolf
I got-
Lake.
yeah.
Wolf Lake.
Well, he lived at Big Lake there, just north of Columbia City off of
Well,
109.
Closest town was Wolf Lake, I think.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
I got to drive that car
Oh, yeah.
for a
I
while.
remember that.
It was a
Okay,
good car.
this guy here, Jim Martin, he had the guy that owned that car, he was really a racer, and that car had a 409 Chevy in it, and it went real good. He won a lot of features with it.
You're talking about Bill Budd.
Yeah.
Bill built the
And
car.
this car, this says June 11th, 66.
Do you remember when he came out with that car? He was the first one in a local level to have four-wheel disc brakes. He was
Yeah.
always set the right rear on fire.
Yeah.
He'd burn the seal out of it, and then the gear lube would come out onto
Yeah,
the
and
rotor
they'd
and
catch
then
on
set
fire. And he was always out front when it happened.
Yeah. Well, he'd be leading the race, and he'd have to get black flagged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he'd get the burning, too.
Bill Budd and Mike Gladio were two of the sharpest con men I ever met in my life.
They were, two of them guys were my best friends, too.
If
They were my
if
best friends, I'm
If there's
telling you.
any, we were talking about earlier, you know, on the rule sheet where they got it printed here and here, they could fill in between without a typewriter.
When I was a little kid, they worked on a race car on Harrison Street. I lived on William Street. I mean, I was a little kid, and I'd go over there all the time and watch them doing that race car.
I remember going down to the Pastime Club in the wintertime because we had racing meetings down there, and they'd make the rules.
Yeah.
They'd set and make the rules. And there was no car out at the big track ever ran by them rules. Anything they built. They built that Henry J that time, spent all winter building that Henry J, and hot lapping with it before they got to qualifying and got it upside down and totaled it.
I was out there at the big track when they had a Henry J there. The guy took it off right off the showroom floor.
No, that wasn't the same one.
Now, that was the guy up there that your dad used to drive for.
What was the guy from Harlan, Indiana, that used to come out there with a Fraser,
The guy
Kaiser
that
Fraser.
had the garage here in that little town just before you
Harlan, Indiana.
No, we're heading towards Ligonier.
Oh, okay.
Had the dairy?
Yeah, yeah. Big guy.
Yeah.
300 pounds.
He built two
He
cars.
had, I think he had a trucking company, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I thought your dad drove for him.
He did.
Didn't he take him down to Florida, Daytona?
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah, he
thought.
did.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll get back. Here's one of Joe Wallace's modifieds. They didn't last long at Bearfield, but they were there for a while.
They only ran a couple of years, didn't they?
Yeah.
Fairfield?
Yeah.
I remember running against that thing.
You know,
Yeah.
they just switched to stock cars.
Well, you had to, because you run them 100, 200 laps, you couldn't run these hardly. You know.
Okay, here's one of the guys that we used to run ARCA with. He looked more like a wrestler than a race car driver, but he was good, and he hit the bridge there at down
Winchester.
south there at Winchester, and he never raced again. And we raced him before he hit this, and we was down there, and we was at Dayton, and he brought his ARCA car, a Hemi, and I brought my regular car, Bearfield car. And we got there kind of late because we used to harps. We had Elmer and had two cars there and everything. And he says he was running around there and about that far from the fence, and he says, somebody said, we got a guy that's got a fast Chevrolet. And Les Snow, he came, of course, when we came over there, before we got the truck alone, he says, where's this Moose guy? And I says, right there. He held out his hand. Guess whose tears were running down their cheek? Not Moose.
I knew Les.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I liked him. So anyway, we're at Daytona, and I'm at the restroom, and I hear these guys say, "What's the matter? You can't beat a Chevrolet." Of other guys that are ARCA. It was fun.
I wish your dad was here, because your dad and I can tell a story on Les.
Yes, yes, you can.
There's a lot of stories on him.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one of the guys that run modifieds, Ken Fry. He was a good driver.
Yeah.
Red and white, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think so.
That's what we're for.
Here he is in that. Okay.
It's out of Plymouth, Indiana.
Yeah, Roy Forbes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know him. I raced against him plenty of times.
Yeah. Forbes, he was around, he didn't come out of Plymouth, did he? Forbes come out of Ohio.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Brian, yeah.
Brian.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. He was from Brian.
Yeah.
And here's a kind of a different type car that ran with us in the late models, and it did well. It was a straight six Chevrolet, and I sold him a supercharger. Then it went a little better.
Oh, who was that?
It was Pappy's car.
Oh, Bill Davis?
Yeah, well, that was Pappy's car.
Okay.
Zen.
Zen. Yeah. He was... Zent, see, there's still a few Zents still around, but Zephyr Zent and
There's
Pappy
still a
Zent,
few of them comes out.
and those guys are all gone.
Okay, I got a picture here of Scott in front of the start-finish line at Daytona. Then on this side, there's a short track car. We had these in a show in the Coliseum. I was the first one to put a recorder up and play a tape in the Coliseum. The next day there was 20 of them. So that made me pretty happy. So that's, I could talk for 20 years, but
Yeah.
everybody be bored.
Your racing career has got a lot further down the road than a lot of us did. A lot of us went south, like we were talking Last week when we had Rocky on here,
Rocky.
we had some exciting times in Georgia and Florida, and I don't know, it just seemed like racing was altogether different. It was in I guess the growing stage, if that's the word to use. We were going from the modifieds to the late models, and the late models was taking on a high dollar stance, because the first late models was nothing but buying a 3-year-old car and using a stock motor. That's not the way it is today. You buy a suspension, then you buy the running gears for it, and then you buy the body for it, and then you buy a pilot for it.
Well, Paul, back then, when we started out in this game, we made everything.
Yeah.
Now you buy it like a can of beans.
Yep.
If you've got the money, you go down to the speed shop and come home with the kit, weld it all together and go racing.
Yeah. Well, some of it you don't have to weld together.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
Now you
not
do.
anymore.
I found this sheet of paper here that it's like October the 10th, 65. Some of it's Ileana. It shows that he won the feature at Bearfield, then he won the Bentonhauser. It was a clean sweep.
Yeah. That's what Moose was driving. Ileana, Shearville, that's still there. You know, at one
It's
time.
still there.
Yeah, they were that housing addition was gonna expand over all that,
I don't need the money.
and everybody was going up there and running the last race at Ileana. Let's go up because we won't be here next year. So I know I went up. I think
Yeah, we went up
yeah,
there.
went
one
up
time.
there to watch
Yeah.
the final race. There's never been a final race yet. They're still running up there. They never built the housing like they did at South Anthony, where they dozed in the track and built houses all over. But Shearville, they never did, and that was one that they was really going to build.
Everything's built up so much you can't even finally find a place.
Yeah. Well,
I went up there to the ASA race. I just about missed it. Everything is just built all
built
around.
all the way around it.
Yeah.
It's the same way at
And they
Heidelberg.
fixed the track up nice now.
That's what I heard.
I went up there, let's see, like last year, somebody gave me some tickets for the Ileana ASA race, so I went up there. And I couldn't find nobody to go, so I just went by myself. I had about 4 tickets. I said, heck with it.
Stick that in there.
I'm going.
That's just like, I think Rocky Fisher told us last week, Allentown over here, Lima Land. I guess they've really done that track over, and it's just hard to believe what they've done with it. I guess it's really out of this world when it comes to racetrack. I remember Ileana Lima Land was just a dirt track, and it was a fast one. That's where the wing sprints first started running.
There's not many dirt tracks left.
No, they're too hard to maintain.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
They're expensive to maintain.
There's a lot of them down around south. Around
Yeah.
Atlanta, around Tampa.
well,
There's a lot of dirt tracks.
that's back with the good old boys again. That's back where they, even though NASCAR has went big time and everything, they're in all the drivers like Junior Johnson and Petty and come off them dirt tracks and stuff like that. They've come and graduated and they're out on the big tracks.
They came off them gravel roads.
Well,
Junior Johnson did.
yeah, well, he was running illegal too.
He was there at last. He was running Chrysler 300s, and he'd take it down there and have the engine builder down there. He had the number 6 car.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it.
Anyway, he would send the motors down to put in his whiskey haulers, and they were Chrysler 300 Hemis.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's in his book.
Yeah.
What's the name of Touch of Luck or something in his book?
Yeah, but you talk about the Southern Dirt Track racing, look at Bill Elliott, went back to it.
Yeah, that's
I
going.
seen him running today.
Yeah.
Last night. He was at Tampa, I believe.
Tampa.
Yeah, they
Um,
just lapped him just when the race was over. So that was good,
Yeah. We went down there and worked some races for
Yeah.
Rocky, and
Yeah. I remember
their dirt
those.
tracks are different than what ours is up here.
It was a different.
They're oil
different-
type
yeah,
tracks.
Right.
that one at Jacksonville was an oil track. If you look at it, just glance at it, you think it was asphalt. But in reality, it's a dirt track.
You're right.
Had that black sheen to it.
Yeah. And
Like
when
Butler up
you
there.
left there, every crease on you was black.
Yeah.
Now, we got up into
That's the kind
Georgia.
of dirt I got where I live down there.
Yeah. We got up in Georgia there, and it was red. And
Yeah.
no matter where you was at, you under your watch and everything, it was a red glow.
Yeah.
When you get back to the motel, you had to take a shower.
Some of the worst places I ever went to run is Atlanta. They ran a race in July in Atlanta, ARCA cars by themselves.
You talking about over there in Griffin, Georgia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big track.
The big track.
Yeah. I mean, it was so hot down there, the guys had the hoses running so they could stand in the water. Oh, man.
Somebody else was telling me about a race at Atlanta that got hot. I've been down to Atlanta, and it never was that hot. I can
You've
remember
never
going.
been down there in July.
No, I remember going down there in April with Bob Driftmeyer and
Shot it up in April down there.
and the guy from Cavell Ford, Dale Murphy. We went down there and took Driftmeyer's camper, and it was cold down there. I thought it was going to snow that day, but I never was in Atlanta when it was that hot. But I've been in Atlanta when they had ice storms going through there, going to Daytona.
We was down to Atlanta, and you know the NASCAR cars were there, and when we got up in the morning, it had snow on the ground. I mean on the ground. Of course, it went off right away, but it
Yeah.
snowed that night. Oh man, was it cold that whole time?
Well, that's one of the stories I can tell you about Les Snow. You know, Les never did have a full crew. One day they were running an ARCA race.
You helped?
No, well, yeah, because John and I and a bookkeeper running an ARCA race, and he came in on a caution flag and put on 2 tires, and Iggy Katona's leading the race with about 5 laps to go, and he blows a tire, and he comes sailing into the pits. Of course, he's off of it, and Les Snow takes over, and he's got about 2 more laps to go. Going down the back straightaway, that thing, there's a big puff of snow, and smoke comes out of that thing, and he comes around, comes in the pits, and I'm standing on the pit wall, and your dad's standing behind me, and I'd been kidding Les, you know, when you get tired, bring it in here, I'll drive it for you, and don't worry about it, you know. Anyway, he come in the pits, on track, pulled himself out, he says, okay, Paul, it's your turn. There's no motor left. Then the other time was, I think it was the same winter we were down there, we're over on the beach. And this is after the racetrack closes, about 8 o'clock at night. And Les and 2 of his pit crews with him, and they were in the best of shape. And they ran into John and I, and what are you guys doing? And I'm just looking at the city. Come on with us. We went over to a bar.
Tried to fight your way out?
No, we didn't even fight our way in. They went in, and your dad and I went right on down the street. Les was something else.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
I really liked the guy. He was a lot of fun to be with. But you know, that was the days.
And anyway, about that race at Dayton, you know, he'd run right up by the rail.
Uh-huh.
Guess where we ran?
In the middle of the track.
Bottom. When we go to pass him, we stay at the bottom. We was in the dash, and they give him the flag. The first thing he does, he hits Moose as hard as he can. When the race didn't even start, it started, and he just tries to wreck Moose right away.
Yeah.
So Moosey goes right clear on down there where his car would run, a damn little heavy Hemi in there and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so when it came there, well, Moose lapped him.
I mean, Ramos Scott was another guy that ran with that group. There was Iggy
he
Katona,
was good,
Snow, Ramos Stott, and Benny Parsons.
Well, I knew Raymond well.
Yeah. Ramo was out of Keokuk, Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another guy out of Keokuk that ran about the same time.
White.
I think so.
No, when he ran USAC.
Yeah.
He ran out of Watchman Jig's garage up there. That's by Chicago, where
Oh,
Klotz did.
Yeah, Griffin, Georgia, or no,
Nichols.
out there by Hammond.
Nichols.
Nichols, yeah,
Nichols
Nichols.
Engineering.
Yeah, they were the Chrysler guy in the north, and Petty was the Chrysler guy in the south.
Yeah, I remember.
Wake up, we don't want to put
Oh,
you
I'm
to sleep.
I'm listening.
Kid,
I'm listening.
one of us going to cheat here pretty quick.
Yeah.
You aren't going to see it.
This one.
Well,
He's got more years' experience at it.
well, I don't know about that. I'd say there.
Yeah, well, you guys might be pretty close.
No,
Well,
I'd say there's somebody sitting between us.
I about got in the Civil War down at Salem one time. The one guy there, I can't remember his name, but his car was white and ran Arca. I mean, he was a nice, and this good old boy owned the car. So we're going there, and everybody's car sounds whoa like this. What's his car sound like? Like a late model. Whoa, whoa. Well, he took out all the lead. So the next time I went down there, I took out all the lead. But that guy wanted me to race me for $1,000. He said, "I bet you $1,000." Well, what? That'd been a free for all.
Well, that goes where you know who you're playing with.
Well, you know, I grew up, but that's the first time then I started noticing. So we got over there in Ohio and little track there, and I seen them guys take their lead out. So we just backed her up on the truck, got the jack. I mean, that car had like 350 pounds of lead on that short track car we had. We took that out. Shoot, Allison kid. I don't want to say had the lead in. We'd been running last if we would have took that thing out.
Yeah. Allison come up here and ran, and I think he gave everybody a education on how to fine tune one. Remember when he used to come up here and run Bearfield, and the guy that Spangler.
Spangler, that's who brought him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they
Bob
come up to
Spangler.
run them, I asked, they would go out here.
Yeah. Bob Spangler was, you went down there, I think he ran Allison's souvenir stand and stuff like that, I think.
Wife did.
That's why
He got a job. He got a job checking gas tanks.
Bob couldn't do it, it's just,
That's what I mean. You know, Allison got him the job. You know.
yeah. Well, it's just like when we talked about this on a couple programs back also, is Koskoff, Norb Koskoff. When I first met Norb, he was working the line at Magnavox. And then him and Whitey Demery started running late models, and then Koskoff ended up owning Bobby Isaac's car, and Bobby, they took that car to the Bonneville Salt Flats and set all kind of records with it, and
Some of which still stand, too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they do, really.
yeah, some of them
For
are
one-
standing. So Koskoff was another guy from here starting K&K Insurance, and then branching out. So people in the area that we're familiar with, and the people that we've ran with and everything, there's a lot of them did make it big.
Whitey, I know him real good. I lived a half a block from him when I was a kid when he drove that '54 Dodge.
Whitey Demery?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would just drive the car to the track.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that was old man's crisscross garage. It had a brick front and
Yeah.
just an old block garage.
Where was that at?
on Clinton Street.
Clinton Street.
Clinton is still there.
Williams.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Between
that,
Williams
yeah.
and Creighton
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'd go over there all the time.
When I went to Florida in
Yeah.
January, I got to Macon, Georgia, and I had his phone number. Popeye Page gave me his
Yeah.
number, and I pulled in a filling station there and called him on my cell phone, and I was going to spend a day with him because I used to work for him when I worked at Martin's. He was superintendent over
He was
there.
the best iron worker I ever saw.
And anyway,
I mean, from anybody.
yeah.
Lottie, I mean, he'd put that goddamn decking on by himself when it's raining. I
Yeah,
mean, he's
he
crazy.
took chances.
Yeah, he's crazy.
And anyway, he coughed and
Good race
sneezed
car
and,
driver.
and everything. He says, "How long going to be here, Paul?" I says, "I'm just passing through, Whitey." So when I came back, I called him again. He was feeling a lot better. But his boy has got a garage down there, and he lives in Macon. And he's worked on a couple old cars. I think he's got an old Thunderbird right now that he's redoing, or at least that's what he said.
Yeah, we was at Atlanta, see, We're running a car. Pretty soon somebody taps me on the shoulder. I go, Whitey, what the hell you doing down there? Well, I live right down the road, he says.
He's a character. He was the one that talked me into climbing the Lincoln Tower with a new rope. Whitey, we aren't going to do that again.
I gotcha.
But yeah, Whitey would walk bar joists, you know.
I know that.
How
Carrying a piece of metal.
Yeah, and I wouldn't walk the thing if it had a plank welded across it. But he'd tiptoe across that like nothing. But
Walking bar joist.
yeah, that's why he's crippled up the way he is now. Took too many into the hole. That'll do it. But anyway, getting back to our racing bit and everything, this is the fastest 1 hour we'll ever put in because we're getting down to the last 3 minutes of this program. And it's just going real quick. Well, Steve's done all the talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure have.
Steve won't shut up.
Jeez, we couldn't even get a word in.
You'll have to reschedule you guys back so you can say something. I was always the quiet one.
I can remember one night when you weren't so quiet.
I had a little problem with the scores and the lineup people up there in the tower.
That's quite unusual.
My brother says, "Are you going to do something about this, or you want me to go up there?" And he couldn't have walked up the stands if he had to. And I said, "I'll take care of it." Opened up the door, and there was two brothers sitting up there. I can't remember what their last names were. And I said, "I'm going to tell you what. That'll be the last time I don't win when I was supposed to, or one of you is going out this window." And this is at the scores table.
You threw him out?
No.
No,
I was asked to leave, and I think we've been friends ever since.
well, we were friends then.
Well, I thought we were. I couldn't understand why I kept getting put back to the end of the line.
The trouble with you, you can't do two things at once. You could drive the car, but you couldn't count the laps.
That's why the flagman always sat there and kept giving me these numbers.
That was his job.
That's right. That was his job to count them. I was just supposed to drive them.
There you go.
What I always liked about about scoring up there with Dick is situations like that would come up. And I'd explain, you know, we're watching 24 cars in this race.
Right.
You're only watching one.
But that's the important one.
NASCAR
Well,
still has that problem.
I bet you do.
You're going to have that in anything. It's
That's
basketball, softball,
That's true.
racing.
All in all, though, we used to have a good time out there. We really did.
Well, I still think that there's a lot of fun can be had in racing.
Oh, there
Let me
probably
tell you
is.
one thing. I went Sunday, and I was impressed with the show they put on out to Bear Field. I mean, they had a lot of nice cars, everything. Everybody did a good job.
We're down to the final few seconds. I want to thank everybody for showing up today.
Well, I
It's
wanna
really
thank you
been
for
a
having
good
us.
show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Had a good
It's
time.
a lot of fun when we get here and talk, and like I say, there's no script or anything, so this is it. So when they turn the music on, and we got, I think, 10 more laps to go.
All right.
When those 10 laps are gone, then it's about the end of the program.
10 more laps, 10 more laps, 10 more laps, 10 more laps to go. My 66 model has been raring to go. I worked a lot of hours getting her ready to go, fixing up the engine so she won't blow. I'll be a winner, I know. 10 more laps, 10 more laps,